That fight was absolutely insane. Without a doubt, pure fire, adrenaline pumping. Honestly, thought Nanami was dying in this episode. You don't drop a backstory, basically a life or death situation, and expect that character who's so cool, who quickly risen to be a fan favorite, and I know damn well people who read the manga probably felt the same way. Cool character, backstory, gonna give his life for our boy, probably propel him into a new point of vision, and he actually ended up alive. Very satisfying fight, I have to say. More satisfying than if Mahito ended up dead in this episode. Don't get me wrong, I was rooting for him to die in this episode because I was like, well, this guy's a scumbag. He's got to go out. But the idea of him being like the greatest opponent to someone like YUJI, I think is the perfect way that he's going to be an obstacle that is not going to be easy to deal with. And the amount of pain and torture he's going to cause him, and I mean his introduction to YUJI was killing his best friend. I mean, this isn't going to go over well. Obviously, this review is coming out a lot later than usual, but I mean, this episode aired on Christmas. People shouldn't be expecting me to, take time away from the family to do this review, so we're now finally watching it. I didn't want to watch it beforehand because if I wasn't going to be recording it the same day I watched it, I wasn't going to take away from the impact that it would have on me. I walked in expecting bloodshed. I got it, just in a different coat of paint. Incredible episode, just to see how much quality was in this episode. The worst you can say about the production is that after the fight, when they're in the morgue, they hold on to like 3 shots for a couple of minutes, 2 separate faces, and then they scroll down the bodies. But when you see the amount of fluidity and gorgeous animation throughout 99% of this episode, which is batshit insane action, blood everywhere, gorgeous animation. I mean, with the way the episode kicks off, it literally looks like something pulled from Mob Psycho 100 when Mob's entering 100 or something like that. It was just insanity, to say the least. So I don't think really that small little glimpse of what you could say was a production misstep of just holding on to a couple of shots after the battle should be something really worth noting. I know I've seen a couple of people bring it up, being like, oh, this was lackluster. And in a normal episode, I would agree, but in an episode that was mostly dictated by an insane fight and emotional heavy scenes, I wouldn't complain in the slightest. I just felt like for an episode where it's 2v1 and you weren't sure if a character like Nanami would make it out alive, that's something that you have to give praise to. This is a fight where one character can damage the other character, and the other is basically just good at being a distraction, as one guy is having a blast. There's a moment in this episode where Mahito looks like a child running away from his bullies as he's having the time of his life. This isn't the type of villain that you look at and say, oh, he's someone who's out to, change the world because he hates this and that and he's going to do this revolutionary change. No, this is a psychopath who's having fun. Very similar to Sukuna, who literally he does things that entertains him. That's his entire motto in life, and there's only one character right now who does entertain him, and everyone else who gets in his way, he'll give you one warning. You piss him off after that warning, there's no coming back. And he lives up to that promise. The idea of having something like this occur, where, okay, someone like YUJI, we can't kill him, we need Sukuna, and also he can hurt me, so let's trap him outside. We're gonna create this barrier. An all-powerful barrier. You're in the palm of my hands. That's death. I mean, you don't introduce a simple montage of his backstory where he's a salaryman who's living his life thinking money's the way to happiness. He meets a bakery girl who has a little demon on her shoulder, nothing out of the ordinary, but the idea of him saying, like, my job is literally just to make the rich richer. If I die, if I go away, no one will notice me gone. Another will simply take my place. Someone like you goes away, the people who buy your bakery goods will notice that you're gone. Why do I make more money than you? As he basically removes the curse from her. It's such a great moment to show you that, yeah, Nanami, he's dying here. There's no way we get this type of emotional backstory to show what type of person he used to be and the purpose in his own life and what he's about to give it up for. To then you see, I think, probably the most unexpected moment in the episode for me, to see our boy come crashing down. And they do a great job of really fleshing out the power mechanics in the show. Like the idea of saying, like, the outer walls of these barriers are very weak because no one's going to want to come into one, because if you do, you'll end up dead, basically. It's basically a one-shot KO for the most part, so no one's going to break through, so you put all your defense in them breaking out. And for him to come out, because this is something that traps you, goes in your soul, it basically harnesses your weakest point. But when you're going up against someone like Yuji, who has Sukuna in his mind, that's basically Mahito going in and violating his rule, which then just creates bloodshed. And what's interesting is when you look at the conversation towards the end of the episode, where you have basically Nanami thanking his savior, why would I scold you, why would I punish you when you're the reason I'm alive? And he's saying, I did nothing, which is wrong. While yes, the reason that this character had to flee and almost ended up dead, if anyone, any sorcerer pretty much of any level would have found him, they had a good shot at destroying him at that point. It was obviously, we had the King of Curses, that was the damage that was dealt, but he was the one who broke through that barrier. Without him jumping in, that never would have occurred. But of course, for someone like Yuji, who not only just lost his friend, he also had to kill. Yes, they don't look like humans, but they're still human by his point of view, and I think many would agree they are. Just obviously, they've been cursed beyond repair. Yuji's character arc and development in this arc in particular has been really interesting. You can just look at the conversations he had before, obviously we have someone like Yoshino ending up dead. Instead of yelling at him and telling him how he should feel, instead he had to sit and listen to what a bullied boy had to say. That is completely different than most shonen, battle shonen protagonists. And in this episode, he actually had to kill. Even if it's just this mini monster by the looks of it from our point of view, it still was a human from his. And he's learning that he has to kill. He's learning that he can't just shout and expect people to understand his point of view when it's important for him to understand their point of view. And to have a battle like that take place and to have it on such a sad note. I mean, this would have ended as a great season 1 cliffhanger if this would have been a 1-core production rather than a consecutive 2-core, which yes, we do have to wait a little bit for the next episode, but I mean, for the quality we experienced over 13 episodes, I don't think anyone should realistically be complaining at the slightest. Let the people have their break. That's usually always happens at the end of the year, so to speak. So it was just great to see that development. It was great to see payoff and satisfactory payoff, but also know that things are going to start changing rapidly and it's not going to look good. Most likely for characters like Yuji. I mean, it's already not looking good, and this is what you would call a victory, and it doesn't feel like it for him. But to be honest, I think the thing that stands out the most to me in this action-packed episode is actually the resolution and to see a bit of change with the bullying in the school. Generally, with a bullying angle like this, you wouldn't touch upon it again because the character's dead, right? But the idea of a teacher owning up to his mistakes, well, it's very easy for us in human nature to lash out being like, you ignored this for so long. It's not like this is a character who's simply blaming the bully, he's blaming himself as well for ignoring this, and the fact that they sent out a survey to all the students and you're getting just random characters kind of thinking back to the bullying that they witnessed but chose not to do anything out of fear, most likely. It shows that there is a chance for change in a school that did take one life away, but hopefully will stop it from ever happening again to others. That's something you don't get to see in a show like this, so the fact that they dedicated time into giving that resolution, so even though one character did end up dead and ended up in a horrible situation, it's nice to know that this hopefully won't happen to the same degree ever again, because bullying is unacceptable in all shapes and sizes. So to have a show that didn't need to touch back upon it, the fact that they did, it really does bring a giant grin in my face. I'm really excited for episode 14. I can't wait to see where the next arc is going to go. The preview looks pretty hype, I'm not going to lie, but I guess time will tell to see what's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts and feelings and definitely your theories on where the show could go going forward. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.